Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from Astrolada.com, and today my guest is Sidereal Astrologer Trifon Nikolov here with us with the omens for November 2024. What the sky is telling us, we're getting into very interesting times. So, all of us are looking forward to what Trifon has to share with us. Hello, Trifon.
Hello, everyone. It's time for us to talk a little bit for the coming weeks of November and the last days of this month. It will be interesting to talk. So I'm still deciding even what to say about everything that is coming. About the elections, by the way, in USA. For now, my measuring is still continuing my analysis. And even though I'm a little bit inclined towards Kamala Harris, still I believe I have to check much more things before I make the final conclusion. So, and I told you earlier, the prediction about that will be right before the election. So there will be a separate video, not very long, on this topic on the 4th of November.
You're saying it's very difficult to see this time. Usually you knew months in advance and you were certain, and this time everything is very uncertain.
Both candidates have very much competing cycles, really very complex. And is, as always, is difficult, but this time it's even more difficult to make the prediction for who will be the winning side.
It's okay if it's unclear. I mean, you can say we're not God, we can't always see forever, but thank you for being honest with us about that. And by the way, Trifon is doing, he very rarely makes a course. He's doing a 2-day workshop or course, you can watch it after that in November, about love and relationships, compatibility, what kind of partner you're gonna marry, how the marriage will be, if there will be children, the timing of it, the type of, it's such a full course. It's only on Saturday and Sunday in November. What was it? 11th or something like that. I forgot.
It's the second weekend of November. 16th of November, Saturday starts and continues also on the next day, 17th November.
Yes.
6 hours each day.
So whoever wants to join us, I'm putting a link below. These are extremely rare courses that Trifon does, and his knowledge is not based just on, it's based on ancient astrology and on his observations working with thousands of clients. So I'm excited about this webinar, 2-day webinar. But now and also Trifon is offering 2 promotional readings for you for the next 15 days. One is about 2025. It was $300, now is $199 only for the next 2 weeks. And also love and relationship readings about your love life overall and dating and type of partnerships again. It's down to $199 again. And with this, I give you the word to lead us through November. And what are those red skies you told me about? What is the sign of the red skies?
So people you know from the news of this month, around like 10 days ago, there was like strong magnetic storms, and in many parts of the world, like Europe and I believe also in some parts of USA, people were seeing red skies. Like in many parts of Europe, for example, it was seen. And I believe it happened also in USA. So the red skies, while I was like searching for some ancient omens for completely different topics, and accidentally I saw an omen from ancient times about what the red skies are predicting for the future. It's an ancient omen from Mesopotamia, written on a clay tablet and translated by a scientist. And What it says actually surprised me because, you know, in astrology, the red color usually is, you know, blood, violence, the nature of Mars, right? But the ancients were simply saying that this foretells and predicts prosperity. Prosperity. Interesting.
And how long ahead does this prediction last for? Like we've been seeing it in October, the red skies.
Definitely, this was not like mentioned in the Omen, but I can guess is similar to the predictions related to the eclipses, like depending on which part of the night is happening, corresponds to what part of the year ahead it will correspond. So if you were seeing it in the first 1/3 of the night, then it will start soon, and it will last at least 100 days. Otherwise, for the next 2/3 of the night, correspondingly, the other 100 days of the year, like we can say, because they say it's the continuance of the Omen is around 100 days for the eclipses. So I guess it's the same.
I
It's
can
around
share
100
my
days and depends.
I can share my screen right now because our administrator Sarah just shared what people have been seeing. I don't know if it's the same one, but here it is. If can you see it? What I'm sharing? This is what they've been seeing.
Yes,
Is
yes,
that what
but
we're talking
also,
about?
actually, I saw in Europe also much more like red color, like the entire sky being red. But this also
Uh-huh.
works, I guess.
Prosperity. So I was thinking revolutions, blood, red October. But
Yeah,
thank
I
you
know, I
that.
know. Right, but I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, yes, this happens because the sun is very active, because the sun bursts those explosions of magnetic storms. And actually, this is to say that the sun is hurling a lot of energy towards the earth, right? So maybe this is actually something has to do with what is really going on in nature. Because, for example, when the sun is not active, when the sun does not have spots and eruptions, actually, in the past, what was happening is that there was like the small ice age, for example, in the 17th century. And so there was like very strong rulers, like dictators, kings, etc. So, and very heavy winters, like the winter is coming, right? So it was very harsh. So it seems that when the sun is more active, it's actually giving not so bad omens for the people on Earth all the time, or at least it's preferable to have it with some sunspots than otherwise. And so they, however, the ancient people from Mesopotamia, they were like observing very carefully the connection between the omens and what was happening later in their countries as events. So we can rely on this that they really check this. So I think it's reliable meaning. Yeah, this sounds good. So for whatever parts you were able to see the sky, right? Expect somehow like better times, I guess, for the economics there.
Some unexpectedly good news. We're all expecting all banks to crash for us to be eating
I know.
potatoes for years
And especially now when it's really hard, the last couple of years, I think this is really like needed news in a way. So this is great. Of course, this will have to do with all the other events happening, including on the political level. But as I said about that a little later. So I will remind you that the meaning of the south node being with the star Zania is still active. So the South Node is still in aspect with the star of, let's say, sexual love and scandals, still until 4th of November. And there was another scandal that erupted the last days with I think, famous designer who was like a sex trafficking man, right? It's not only like Puff Diddy, it's also there like all the time in the news, but it's like continuing, right? So until 4th of November, we can have even more things like that. And then there will be like some around 12 days rest from this. And then it begins again. The South Node again goes into relation with this star. And it will be there like until, I can say, the rest of the year. So this thing is still continuing. Karma, of course, the bad karma that has to be paid for the people who are making crimes in this direction about sexuality, using people. So the South Node, we can see here his real aspect of heavenly judgment and paying the past debts. Reminding all of you, everyone has this position in his chart in some specific place, right?
So sexual misconducts are on the spotlight now. Karmic payback.
Absolutely. Totally. And this continues. So the prediction proves
it's just barely gone to it. I think it's yet to get to the exact degree, the true node.
Yes. Still has to go there. Now the aspect is a little different. It's called Paranatalanta, but the true conjunction starts after the middle of November. That's what I'm saying. And I will add some nuance when it makes the exact conjunction. This time can like relate to like more important people, not like designers, people related to art, etc. But this time it can be like people who have even political relevance.
And that's towards November, December.
This is starting around 16th, 17th November.
Wow.
So, yeah, so actually 19th of November, just checked. Yeah, 19th of November. And so, many things are going to happen in the month, and most of them are related to the positions of Saturn and Mercury. So we can say this is the month of those two planets, let's say. So what are the news about Saturn? Saturn is about to turn direct in the middle of November. Exactly in the middle, like 15th November. And I have mentioned many times in the previous years that when Saturn turns direct, he's about to bring more justice, more order, and more stability. So we expect, of course, this, everyone, because Saturn, when he's not in good shape, he always will mean only that there is less security, less justice to be done. In this regard, we can see Saturn actually can be like very important planet for everyone. And of course, depending on which houses he rules in everyone's horoscope, he will make those houses to flourish better than before. Remember, he is retrograde since the end of June. Now his station that is about to happen is in his own sign, Aquarius. So part of the judgment of Saturn, that he will bring more order, stability, and justice, is about the large groups of people, like we can say about society in a way, but especially about the groups of society that are dealing with human rights and freedom. It's on particular private level, he will be judging about friendship. All the time for the last 2 years, Saturn is in the sign of friendship. Aquarius, giving various tests. trials to friendships. So important friendships potentially even ended because of the law of time. But it's a testing time as well. And so this is another testing time, but it's actually nothing to fear, right? In a way that the existing connections will only be checked for true validity by Saturn in these times. Additional thing is that when Saturn starts his phase, this will be around like 7 days before his actual turning. So this will make it around like 8th of November. According to the ancient rules, he becomes a ruler of the times, and I mean for the world. And in those last days before he actually turns, still some of the greatest injustices can happen. This is like more sensitive time. So everyone have this in mind. It's like the end of the road. So right in the end, greater exhaustion, greater issues can happen. But then the turning starts. And for the next 7 days also, this is to say, after all, between 8th of November and until 22nd of November, so 8th to 22nd November, Saturn can be accepted as the main lord of events. Crucial time, and it requires from everyone to be like more responsible, better organized, a little bit more careful for security, I guess. However, Saturn, you have felt his movement each year. Each year he becomes retrograde and then direct. So happened many times to each of us. There are also specific meanings. The ancients are saying that when he makes this station, turning direct into Aquarius, it will mean the decease of the king. Decease of the king. Now, having in mind that this is Aquarius and that there is some big piece of lands and countries, the Arabia, that is, according to the ancients, ruled by Aquarius. So I guess it's about the Arabian kings. Yeah, it's possible meaning. Well, maybe it's also for some others, right? Aquarius can be related also to important countries like Ukraine, even USA, but we don't have kings there, right? This is the difference. Personally, I relate Aquarius even to Scandinavia. So these are the options. And so the turning of Saturn is above everything I can say for the month. But of course, there are also other important events. I will remind you about the comet. I commented last time about the comet. And I predicted that there can be war if the comet becomes very bright. She didn't become like very, very extremely bright, but still bright enough. She was doing so in the presence of Venus, however. For some time, Venus was beneficial. But after some time, Venus was not already beneficial. The ancients are saying if Venus is present or Jupiter is present, then things are softening, not so harsh. But I think that when Venus later, she actually was present already in Scorpio in one moment, while still the comet is moving and shining. Well, this is then, in this situation, not so great, but this is about to show up later.
How?
Even it's not this year, I believe this will happen even 2, 3, 4 years later, because the the omens of comets, they can last many years sometimes, depending on how many days the comet is visible. Each day can be accepted as a year. There are such writings from the ancient astrologers when predicting effects of comets. And so if this, if something has to be predicted in this way, that Venus is involved and that she becomes difficult in one moment, I have one country in mind, even two countries can be said to be ruled by Venus, and these are USA and Iran. Ascendant Taurus for USA, ruled by Venus, and the ancients are saying ancient Persia, which is today Iran, they say it's Taurus. Yeah. So that's why I relate this condition to Venus and the comet to both countries potentially.
What color was the comet? Did you see it? Did you manage to see it with the naked eye yourself?
I'm too much to the south with too much clouds, so I was not able to see it personally.
So it
Here in
wasn't
Florida,
something spectacular or
but I know from the observations of others how it was. So there are different opinions. Some say gray color, which is of course more Saturnian. So it actually predicted war. We can see what's going on between Israel and Iran the last days. Only the presence of Venus indicates that this will be for some time not so strong, but later the prediction is worsening in some of the later years.
So you think this will drag for years?
Yes, the comet is for many years. She was visible for many, many days.
Where was it most visible from? What areas? Do you know?
So the importance is where she starts. So she seemingly started from Virgo, right? And Virgo is actually related to the modern chart of Israel. It's an important sign there, and that's why it relates. But also Virgo is sign of other countries. The most important, according to the ancients, related to Virgo is Greece, by the way. Greece. Mainly, Greece is related to this sign. Of course, there are potentially others, but this is the most famous Virgo country, ruled by Mercury. However, the Babylonians, the ancient Babylonians, like people we can accept now, are related to where Babylon is, like Iraq, right? They also, the Babylonians themselves considered themselves also related to the sign. So we can say the Middle East, Iran, Iraq, Israel, and Greece.
Oh. Was it visible from those countries?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was. So for now, there is some softening because of Venus present, but later Venus becomes difficult and things will go in more difficult direction. This is what I think about this comet. In the future, maybe we can talk more about it. It's definitely happening. I will remind you something about now, having in mind that Kamala Harris is the presidential candidate and talking about comets. I will remind you one of my predictions in the past about another comet, the comet Neowise, which appeared in July 2020. Very bright comet, which had in many places of the world, like it has like certain silver color. So there was, and I searched for texts of the ancients about the meanings of it. So she was in one moment, this comet was moving into the Big Bear constellation, Ursa Major. And Searching for the meanings of the ancients, I also found some Chinese texts about
Some
counts
what?
from China, ancient China.
Mhm, mhm.
I'm drawing from everywhere, wherever I can find ancient texts, right? So, but after all, and they were saying that this means that some important servant, important like minister will appear. So in that time, she dropped her own presidential candidacy, and she was chosen as vice president candidate by Biden in the same around that same time. Later, she became vice president. Now she's running for president.
Is there some other astrologers say that there is a chance she can become president before even the elections? Like that should be even before not the elections, but before the inauguration comes, that actually she can be as a substitute for Joe Biden, that the President Joe Biden.
Obviously she is in many ways. I checked her cycles, and I can say that she is probably the leading force since 2021 directly, most of the time. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just saying this because I was telling you earlier. For now, I'm still inclined to think that Canada may be my opinion, which I will say after a couple of days. Anyway, well, Saturn is turning. The notes are with this star called Zania, the adulteress. Of course, have in mind those sexual scandals and troubles related. They are not only for the famous. They can be expressed in many ways in the personal lives of people, especially those who are more related with the degrees of the nodes in this moment. So whoever can check if he is suspected by the nodes, he can expect also to be affected, especially by the south node. Now, let's move to other things. Mercury. So Saturn is improving, which means people with ascendants Aquarius and Capricorn will be better. I remind you, in Western astrology, this is Aquarius and Pisces ascendants. At the same time, Mercury makes important movements, a little bit like critical movements, because he is expected to move in 2 days, 30th of October, he will move into Scorpio. And the ancient definition of Scorpio is a malefic sign. It's related to some bad things, in other words, right? So all the people who are ruled by Mercury can experience about some crisis, transformation, evolutionary process, because Mercury enters in Scorpio and he will be there a long time. Somewhere, I have to check the date, in the middle of January, I think he will move in this sign. So it's a long time, 2 months and a half, Mercury in Scorpio. Of course, Mercury in Scorpio can indicate that the world of trade, the world of the digital transactions, all the world of digital work of any kind are about to go through a big change and critical moments as well, and some evolutionary processes. When we say revolution and evolution, we have to remember that it's always challenging, sometimes extremely challenging. In first place, this will be for the people ruled by Mercury, like whoever has Gemini rising, or Virgo rising, reminding you that Gemini rising is at least considered to be the rising sign of Kamala Harris. And so people ruled by Mercury will have to deal with the processes in Scorpio. They can be much more involved in politics, in controversies, in deep changes. Potentially, however, becoming more motivated and stronger in the process. Scorpio is in a way the sign of deep interaction with the resources, material or spiritual, of the world, and contains the two possibilities for degradation or evolution. There are ancient texts mentioning what Mercury will mean in Scorpio. In the beginning, they say it will bring cold weather. Later, which means in the middle of the month, more mild weather. And in the end, well, the end of the sign, they say it challenges stronger winds. So now I'm like wondering whether there will be a strong hurricane in the end of November or not. Because Mercury will be there in that time, turning retrograde, 25th of November, exactly in this position that they relate to strong winds. So let's say dangerous storms are possible, definitely. Especially in places related to Scorpio, like some Middle East countries, and in my opinion, Florida is Scorpio. I have told you this in the past. Not that it's not like obvious. And so, as is the sign, so will be also the weather, obviously. Remember, the harsh weather is around 25th. So, and this is when Mercury turns retrograde. So I guess you can plan your travels accordingly. Not to try exactly when he turns to travel some long distance or even anywhere. Because this is the sign of danger, right? Scorpio is the sign of ending things. So it's more challenging than other signs. So this is not the only thing that Mercury will do. Of course, when he is expected to be retrograde, it will make all the people ruled by Mercury to revisit past problems. It will challenge them. And actually, it will challenge everyone because Mercury symbolizes the conscious mind, right? We can say of the collective consciousness, some way. Like the world of communications as well, information. So when he turns direct and when he stays so long in Scorpio, everyone will have a lot to think about things like politics, because this is the sign of politics. It's inevitable. Mercury indicates that there will be much thinking, much speculation, disputes about politics. Yeah, this is also expected, of course, by everyone, but I'm just confirming it. So there is one other situation that Mercury will reach, and this is in the middle of the month, around 16th of November. This is when the previous day, remember, Saturn turns direct. On the next day, 16th of November, Mercury makes his greatest possible distance from the Sun. It's called elongation. And in a way, the ancients are considering that this means bad rumors in the army and about the army. So there will be obviously some worrying informations reaching soldiers, officers, generals. And all those things, of course, may remain not very public. Potentially, they will be who are very influential. So bad rumors related to the army. Whatever this can mean. If it is related to the army, it can be, of course, related to plans about wars, etc. And I'm not saying this just like that. When he is turning retrograde, I'm reminding you this is on the 25th. Ancient texts are saying that there will be disorganization, troubles, and irregularities within the army. Again, the army is mentioned. Now, as this is the sign Scorpio, I can relate this more to the Middle Eastern countries, like Turkey, Syria. However, it can be related also to the adjacent countries. And of course, for whoever has, I guess, powerful army. So all this is about Mercury. We can say that the positive side of Mercury being in Scorpio is that is allowing really significant, important, deep inner change on mental, spiritual level. For people, this is one of the best times to make some deep, important transformation. To some important degree, this is relevant to everyone with Mercury in this position.
It summons a lot of concentration of thought and willpower, doesn't it? Because Scorpio is sign of strong willpower and concentration.
Yes, absolutely. So obviously, there will be some more manipulations related to politics, some more troubles related to different armies. Mercury actually can be like plots, lies, manipulations, or in the case of Scorpio, it can be some like bad news that can afflict soldiers. I guess there is logic to that. But remember, this is very actually all-round position. Everyone will experience Mercury in Scorpio in some way because everyone has two houses in his natal chart ruled by Mercury. And two houses, two important areas of the life of everyone will have some deeper changes, setbacks, and call for improvement. And so now I guess I can mention some of the important days ahead. I will remind you that having in mind now that there is like this female candidate, if you remember in the videos, it was, I think, like around September last year, 2023, when the North Node entered Pisces. And when I predicted that there can be troubles from water and there was like big floods in North Africa ruled by Pisces, etc. But one of the other things that I mentioned is that when the North Node goes into Pisces, the last time when it happened was when the Chancellor of Germany, a female, by the name Merkel, entered power. Now still we have the North Node. There are like many different positions pointing to that or this regarding the candidates. Why Pisces? Pisces is the exaltation of Venus. It's a female sign and related to Venus. And also the North Node is related to gaining, unlike the South Node, which you already know. I mentioned about that. Now there are two moments when there will be important moon positions. On the 17th of November, the moon and Jupiter together in Taurus. And the moon is there actually earlier, but on the 17th, she's in better situation with Jupiter. And this is the time of the month that can be used for successful activities, to start or to do something important. It's not like this on the 20th. 20th of November, the moon with Mars in Cancer. Now let's talk about Mars. Moon and Mars in Cancer, of course, this can be a troublesome position for everyone. Better not to start anything on the 20th, if possible, of course. Now let's talk about Mars. Mars already is debilitated since 22nd of already almost a week. And Mars will stay a long time like that. Mars being debilitated, it's not so good sign for business activity, by the way. And it's not a good sign for people related to Mars. We can say this includes the army or the industrial sector related to it. But also each person who is ruled by Mars, like having Scorpio rising or Aries rising. These are sidereal signs. In Western astrology, it's considered to be Sagittarius and Taurus most of the time, 90% of the cases. And so all those people ruled by Mars, they are entering a period which is more troublesome for them. Everyone can think a little bit more about the year 2009, when exactly this situation of Mars was happening the last time. So think about what kind of restrictions and weaknesses and troubles related to your own actions and pursuits and conflicts in life have happened in the past. Weak Mars, of course, can be a good thing in relation to wars, because I'm reminding you the ancients are saying that this can mean that the commanders of the army are going against somehow, or plotting even against the ruler. Weak Mars sometimes means greater probability of peace, but not always. Not always. Sometimes weak Mars means that just the rulers involved, especially the military, does not have the necessary psychological strength to be able to control aggression. And that's why it can be the opposite. Very often, weaker planets brings more troublesome results. And as Mars is related to action, and in this way to business and business management, that's why this can show like lower business activity maybe, or people who are having businesses, etc., will experience some greater tensions in those months ahead. I wonder if they experienced this back in 2009. That's why I'm giving this connection back in time. And so, in one moment, Mars will reach important place. In the second half of the month, Mars will enter this part of the constellation of Cancer that is known in English as the Manger. Now, the Manger is an important spiritual place for the people who are ruled by Mars, and even actually everyone. This will mean that there can be a time of greater development and efforts, but also conflicting situations related to spiritual principles. So definitely an important time for everyone. So I believe that this can mean even greater conflicts based on religious views. It's quite possible. During this time that Mars is in Cancer, this month, next month, a bigger part of January. This is still valid. And I can say and this is mostly happening after 23rd of November, right? Starting literally on the 23rd of November. So I have noticed that this place in the sky is related to some of the most famous female writers, like J.K. Rowling, for example. So such people can have much greater challenges now. Much greater challenges. Also, Mars entering this position where he will be like for around 20 days. The ancients considered that this is a bad position for eyesight. So I'm warning people who are intending to make like some eye surgeries. Better to postpone those. Just saying. And so many other things. However, there are two moments, 2 days, like 14th of November, for example, is one of them. And 26th of November is the second one. In those days, we have much greater influence of powerful spiritual stars. In the first case, 14th of November is a little mixed with some other stars' influence. However, still, these are important days when people can have like spiritual practices, or they can undertake important healing processes, potentially, spiritual journeys, etc. And now, in the end, the month will finish with two events. On the 29th of November, the moon will disappear until 2nd of December. Those days are for rest, meditation. This is the time when people will be like most tired. So I propose that you don't start new things. You can finish things, but not starting new ones. And on the last day of the month, 30th of November, Jupiter, I'm reminding you, Jupiter is retrograde now in Taurus. So Jupiter will reach a fortunate financial star. Interesting, right? But as the lunar position is not fortunate in this moment, it's very dubious whether people can start something new. I'm just saying then that people ruled by Jupiter, those having namely Pisces and Sagittarius rising in sidereal signs, or Aries and Capricorn in tropical signs. So in that time, many of those people will feel some greater fortune surrounding them, and some of them can be really fortunate, including financially. In other words, if you want to try your luck playing the lottery, I guess this is the time. Pisces rising, Sagittarius rising, And I can imagine also Scorpio rising can do so, which is considered Sagittarius in Western. And also Leo rising can do it. Leo rising, which is considered Virgo in Western. Because those will be like their fifth houses, whose Lord Jupiter will be in fortunate association. So as you can see, there are some good things for everyone. Of course, Jupiter with this star can affect everyone depending on the house he rules and on the aspects related. So this extremely complex month is coming. Mercury in Scorpio is coming. 2 days.
You were warning us about it since last October, since the last video when you said it's going to be there for 60 days. And do you say 60 days?
Even more. It's like 70 some.
And a lot of intrigues and a lot of underhanded dealings.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's most challenging for people having rising Scorpio, of course, because Mercury for them rules the 8th house. It's very, very challenging, transformative time for them, but also giving them freedom.
Sagittarius people in tropical.
In tropical, these are Sagittarius, yes. So for them, it's more challenging. So they have to be like more careful when driving. They can be like more concerned about their relatives because Mercury can indicate troubles on events. But also Mercury can bring them greater freedom and better income. So there is like side.
Some secrets might come out to the surface as well by the sound of it.
I think that many secrets can be created in that time. But
all right.
Jupiter is about revealing them, but there will be actually there is such moment when there will be a revealing of secrets, as you're saying. As it is important time actually to know, let's say it when it is. This is when Mercury will make opposition to Jupiter in the sky. This will happen on the 18th of November. On the 18th of November, we can see various scandals on the media, lies being revealed, manipulations being revealed. There will be a lot of bad talk, but also Jupiter will show the truth with this aspect. Of course, for people who are ruled by Jupiter, I already mentioned who are those, this can be a very challenging moment. For those who are ruled by Mercury, if they were honest, it's actually some tension, but actually fortunate time. For those who are not, however, they can expect some true things to be told to everyone. So it's actually interesting times. And so I think this is the main bulk of information that I will give now. And I guess looking forward to talk again in a couple of days.
Yes, Trifon is coming in a few days to do the election prediction that he's still thinking on. And also a video he's coming about relationships and compatibility and marriage partners. And if you want to join the course that he's doing, it's just 2 days. It's like a webinar, 2 full days on a weekend. Even if you can't make it, then you receive the recording, you own it for life. Join us. Or if you want a personal reading with Trifon, he's doing almost like $100 discount from his normal readings for 2025 for relationship topics. I have put the both links below this video in the description if you want to contact him or check out the course. Thank you very much, Trifon. And may everyone be blessed this November.